She reaches from beyond the grave to make good men her wicked slaves. She'll take your blood, she'll take your head. She'll follow you until you're dead.
Hello, UCR. What's your favorite scary movie?
That's right. Just when you thought it was safe to go back on Facebook or YouTube or wherever you're watching this, we're back. So if you enjoyed our very special July 4th gift that we gave you of the I Don't Need Last Summer 1 and 2 reviews, but today we are here because we have some very exciting stuff to discuss. We are finally, and I mean finally, able to discuss Fear Street.
Made my whole damn weekend. So excited.
So
yes.
We've got a very Scream vibe from the get-go.
Yes.
We're not even, hold on, we're not getting into. I want to talk about everything leading up to it first.
Okay,
So, for those of us that I don't know, were born under a rock or aren't elder millennials, Fear Street is R.L Stine, an R.L Stine book series. Probably the second most famous one he does. There was Goosebumps, obviously, but Fear Street was for sexy, dangerous young teens. Ooh.
I was telling Kyle because I was rewatching it just for funsies, and he goes, "I've never heard of Fear Street." I'm like, "Well, you were also not, a gay male or a teenage girl in the 90s."
Yeah, because everyone kissed and nearly got fingered in the lockers and stuff like that. It was all sexy. But see, everyone read Goosebumps.
Everyone read Goosebumps.
The hardcore people moved on to Fear Street.
Hell's
Like
yeah.
it's like, oh, because
R.L Stine actually had
murder.
like other books that weren't part of Fear Street, like Beach House
Correct.
and Beach Party and other things with beaches.
There were other ones.
The
Babysitter was an amazing series. Was that him?
Yes.
Wait,
I was going through my book collection. I have a Fear Street trilogy upstairs, and I was so excited to find it. Like, oh my god!
I know. I want to dig mine. I've got a few of them. I want to dig them out. Hey, so the original Fear Street run of 61 novels was from 1961. Yes, that's right. From 1989 to 1999, they were in publication.
Oh, wow.
There was a reboot in 2015 as well, which was Return to Fear Street. So, the interesting thing about this movie, though it is called Fear Street, it doesn't necessarily borrow from any of the books in this first installment. The overall arching storyline of this trilogy of movies does borrow from the Fear Street saga, which is this sexy little cover here. Ooh.
He's going to get
and tells the story. Yeah, tells the story of how Fear Street became Fear Street with witchcraft trials and Sarah Fear and the Good family, which is all implied at the moment. So if you're a Fear Street nerd, you would have heard all of these names and went, oh, I know what's happening.
Also, if you're a Salem witch trial nerd, you hear the Good family.
Exactly. Oh yeah. So there's some good, fairly violent, gross stuff to come. But these movies have been, as R.L Stine said in interviews lately, these people have been asking for movies about this forever. I've been thinking about it ever since there was a Goosebumps TV series. I was like, why is there not a Fear Street TV series?
You know which books I thought would have made great movies was 99 Fear Street.
Oh yeah, I love 99 Fear Street. How cool was that? Hand in the Disposal.
Oh my
Oh,
god!
I remember
You
that.
just
I
picked-
read that book.
I reread them all recently, and I was just like,
Are yours
reading it.
bright orange as well?
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm just like rethinking the garbage disposal scene. I'm like, oh,
Garbage
that looks
disposal.
Because they were
so.
filming a movie there, wasn't? And it was a faulty
It was
prop
a
or something.
it was
Yeah,
a
right.
movie about
I
the
remember
hauntings
that.
in the house, and that scene would have been so gnarly on screen. I think Tom Savini would just nail it.
Well, they hinted
So
at it in H2O. They ripped that off because I remember watching
What
H2O when he's reaching into the garbage disposal. I'm like, this is Fear
What-
Street.
What I'm thinking is happening, and if they're smart, if Netflix is smart, they're using this trilogy as like a taster, because there are so many bloody books that they could actually use and reference in. If they release these every Halloween or something, like a
Yeah.
movie or 3 movies or like a mini series, they've got people for years coming back to it. And there's so many great, like, the Cheerleader saga was amazing.
Bad Moonlight would be a good one too.
Yep. Fear Park, Wrong Number.
Oh, I'm just so excited about this.
Like,
Netflix, do not break my heart. You broke my
99
heart.
Fear, 99
You
Fear
owe me.
Street was a great.
99
Like,
Fear
I would
Street
love
would be
that.
amazing.
I would
99
love
Fear
to
Street
jump.
would be
Yeah,
amazing.
I would love to jump in, because this seems to me like laying the groundwork and kind of like an origin, like an introduction, not an origin story, introduction and origin story. But this movie, these trilogy of movies first went into development in 2015.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, 2015, 20th Century Fox commissioned them. They were like, yes, let's go. The script was finished by 2017. Filming took place back to back in 2019. So all 3 movies at once, which is
We're done all
a smart
before
way
COVID.
which is a smart way to do it, actually, in this day and age, you know.
Yeah,
Just
Jamie Lee Curtis.
get it done. Well, they did that with Halloween. They did that with the last 2 Halloweens. They just got caught out in the middle of Halloween ends. So, whoops. And it was due for a theatrical release in June 2020. Whoopsie daisy.
They should have just released it. Can you imagine all the shit we went through in 2020? That would have been a real bright spot.
But no one would have been able to see it, is the issue.
Lots of people were renting on demand, and I think that they really would have just.
But see, something else happened in 2020 as well. The mouse bought out 20th Century Fox.
Oh, that's right.
So Disney were the proud owners of Fear Street for a hot minute, and they had no idea what to do with it. It certainly wasn't going on Disney Plus, and we'll see why soon. They did contemplate putting it on Hulu as a more adult thing, but then ultimately they dropped it, and then Netflix scooped in August in 2020 and served it up. So this is part 1 of a 3-part trilogy, as we were talking about, and we're starting in 1994. Now, how old was everyone in 1994? We were all the same.
I was 11.
Yes.
I was 11.
I'm trying to do the math here. I think I was 8 or 9.
Yeah, so Luke and I were the same age, so it's all right.
But
yeah.
I was still into it. I was into all that stuff at that age. They couldn't hold me back.
There's been a little bit of criticism about it being not 90s enough. I'm like, are you serious? I've like
It
that
opens with
first.
someone buying an R.L Stine book. Like, I don't think
Someone
you can
buying
get any more 90s.
Book. They bought a Fear Street
Wait,
book.
let's go back to it. In a bricks and mortar bookshop, paying cash at a mall.
$2.99 for a paperback of a Fear Street book. You can't get much more 90s than that. And she was drinking a damn Orange Julius. Come on.
Yeah, I love that it wasn't Fear Street though. It was they were just the titles of the books. They were like, here they are.
Right, but
by Robert Lawrence.
R.L.
By Robert Lawrence. Yes. Got some choice little stalkers then. I think I read all 3 of those actually. So I was very happy. And we are introduced to this lovely young lady.
Does she not look exactly like her mom? Like, come on.
Well,
Like,
who is her mum, Katie, for people that don't know?
okay, so I wasn't totally
Yeah, like
prepared for
me.
fun facts today, but here we go. Uma Thurman is her mother.
Oh my
And
gosh.
Ethan Hawke is
Yes,
her
she
father.
does.
Maya Hawke. That
Maya Hawke.
she is like the perfect combination of Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman, but she looks dead ringer of her mother in the 90s right there. So like perfection. Mwah! Love it.
And definitely very 90s with the, let's go back to it, with the slut strands. Look at her down the front.
I wore a shirt like that in the early 2000s, just like the sheer shirt with
The
something
sheer,
on top.
yeah, I think that sheer look came back in the 2000s, but it was, yeah.
I didn't care if it was back in or not. I was just a miserable
Can we talk about the music for a second, though?
Yes,
Pretty
we
dead.
can.
Like, I feel
Damn
like the
good
budget,
soundtrack.
the budget went on this soundtrack, man. Like, it was like, whoa.
Hear those
That's some pretty good songs. It's like, oh, there's actually Netflix have released all the songs on the mixtape.
Oh yeah, I already downloaded
So
it.
yeah, it's cool.
Anyways.
I was going to put it up on the page, but I forgot to do it. But yeah. So we start out in Shadyside Mall in the 90s, living the retail dream. I was like, I feel you, girl. It's okay. The mall closes, and we get a mysterious phone call. Very reminiscent, as we were saying before, of 190s super slasher that, you know, kind of redefined the genre.
Yes,
But-
folks, we are still hinting at you to tell us to watch Scream.
But what if we think of this first section? I was
very pleased with it. Like
I was into it. Yeah.
very Scream-esque. Very, very Scream-esque. And,
Yeah, I got that very much the Drew Barrymore
exactly.
opening scene.
Even down
100%.
More
to
tongue-in-cheek.
the music.
Even down to the music.
Well,
And
Marco
What you gonna say-
Beltrami is the he's the guy who did all of the music for Scream.
Yeah.
So it's the same.
Like the chase scene when she's in the bookstore and goes under the pull down door is very Scream. Like,
right,
wow.
before
okay.
we go any further, kids, this is
Lots of
going to-
spoilers.
Spoilers.
Sorry, that was usually me. Good work, Katie.
I was
If you haven't seen Fear Street 1984, turn off
Turn it
now
off.
because we're about to ruin everything.
because I was about to follow up with even Heather's death was very Drew Barrymore in Scream because
Oh,
she
like-
grabs the mask
yeah.
and reveals
The poor girl, look, like she went through it.
oh my god, like when he stabbed her right in the chest, like I could feel that, like, oh, you broke
And this
her
is the
ribs.
thing.
Oh.
This is the thing. No cutaways at all.
Mm-mm. It was
Even
beautiful.
Scream didn't show it that graphically. Actually, that was a sturdy knife straight through the chest.
That was some beautiful camera work too, by the way.
Yeah, I was like, so yeah, the killer was this dude, a guy in a skull mask.
Well, I love that, like I just said in Scream, like she pulls the mask and she knows who the killer is. And Drew, you see in her face, well, Casey.
Yeah.
Casey knew who her killer was. You could see in her
Yes.
face, she knew exactly who was killing her, but they didn't reveal who it was. Totally different in this because they show you exactly who's doing it.
They show you who the killer is, and I was like, okay, that's weird. I wonder why they're doing that. All
yeah,
comes back later,
oh,
obviously.
they answer that question later, but then
They answer that question.
then he gets a very graphic death.
He
Very,
does,
very
like
graphic.
this is what I was surprised for a Netflix show for a movie that was aimed at teens. Like honestly, it's obviously they want the millennial can't speak millennial audience. I think I've stroked out.
He's looking for us. They're looking for us.
Yeah, they're
but
looking for us.
also-
But I was surprised. I was surprised that we saw a gunshot to the head, a slash stomach, and
Oh,
stab
yeah.
to the solar plexus, all in the first 15 minutes of this movie.
Yeah, they did
and
not
blood-
hold back.
A fair amount of blood too.
Mm-hmm.
I did love the obvious, like, well, over here it was Granny Mae's, the store that sold all the stupid shit with like the neon lights and all that kind of stuff.
It's Spencer's over here.
Spencer's over there, yeah.
Yeah, it's
I was like,
Spencer's.
that is so retro.
Like
I
that
live.
guy. And as soon as I saw him on the phone with her, I was like, oh, that guy works at Spencer's. Like you knew exactly where he was.
Right. Yeah.
You knew
He's a
exactly.
creepist.
Oh god.
He's a creepist. But yeah, so it's hard to imagine where we go from here. But this is where we're introduced to our core casts, right? We have with
Deanna.
who we think is high school outside Dina. She's like, oh, I'm so angsty and everything about me is angsty. Her wonderful little brother, Josh,
Who's
I thought he was brilliant in
he's
this
the
show.
MVP of this film, and if you disagree with me, you can just go away. MVP.
Even more amazing mean girl Kate. She was who looked a little bit like the girl from Orphan.
Okay,
Right?
and listen, that
Yes, I got that vibe.
Her whole look is a vibe. Okay, hashtag justice for Kate, because
we'll say shit. This is the thing. She may come back if we get more stories. She could be in that cheerleader saga.
This is true, but she's
a cheerleader.
She is a vibe. I love her style.
This
I
is
love
the
the
thing.
90s style, though.
This is what I'm excited about. If they can do more movies, all of this cast can be back. Mm-hmm. There's no reason they can't be. Simon, who I can't find a picture of from the actual movie, but this is the actor that plays Simon.
Have we decided? Because Simon gave me as
queer vibes.
Yes, as my gay friends. Does he not give off the gay friend vibe?
I feel like that's what they wanted to go, but I don't think that they were ready to pack the cast out with LGBT people. You got to remember it was filmed 2 years ago, so do you know what I mean? He had the painted nails. He was like the kind of groovy mean chick best friend guy. So he was like the Damien of this movie from Mean Girls. Oh, I picture it back.
I'm just saying, if they weren't siblings and they weren't actively sleeping together, and I'm not saying that platonic friendships can't exist, but that guy gives off a GBF vibe.
Do you know what kind of vibes he gives off to me?
What's that?
Those weird bisexual creepy, like that guy that was always like, ooh.
Oh, you mean the guys I dated in high school? All the bisexual guys?
Yeah. Like he was that kind of cool bisexual dude. You're like, oh, I don't know. There's something cool about you.
Oh, there's something exotic about bisexual.
And then, of course, the worst character of the whole set of the show.
Oh, I hate her. I hate her so much.
Sad sack Sam.
I hate her.
But anyway. So she's
the main focus, and I hate her so much.
Yeah. So we meet these the core four, as I don't really consider Sam a core character. I like the other four better. Yeah. Dina and Josh's dad is a non-entity, which happens a lot in the Fear Street novels. It happens a lot in Scream too. Right, the parents, if they're there, are barely there or
Single
dead.
Parents working late, or they're dead.
Let the kids rendezvous. So we have the murder of Heather hitting the school, and there is a huge reaction. I liked the way they portrayed high school as well in this. It wasn't shiny, happy American high school. It was kind of bleak. It was kind of It
was grungy.
And we go into the bathroom to discover a bit of art written on the walls. It goes a little something like this. She reaches from beyond the grave to make good men her wicked slave. She'll take your blood, she'll take your head, she'll follow you until you're dead. And this is the curse of Sarah Fear, who was a witch that was, I'm assuming, burnt at the stake. We are yet to hear.
Well, there's pictures of her.
Oh no, she was hung. Sorry,
she was hung.
Duh.
Well, listen,
it's early here.
Well, you know what? I just watched a movie this weekend where they hammered a mask on her, they hung her, and they burned her. I mean, they made sure she was dead.
Oh.
Sarah Fear, to escape her death, cut off her evil hand. The hand is still missing. Let's make that is a huge red beacon. And the fact that her hand is missing has cursed the entire town of Shadyside, basically. So Shadyside's a shithole because, she died on Shadyside land. Yeah. So that's pretty accurate. They go, we go to I guess he'd call it a pep rally. Would you call it a pep rally when someone dies?
It was a vigil.
A candlelight vigil. Okay. Yeah. So the
Flash pep rally.
Shadyside witches are
Biggest
playing
pep
the
rally ever.
Sunnydale. Whoops. Sunnyvale. Sunnyvale football team. So all the band, football players, and cheerleaders have to go. We meet Sheriff Good here as well. So again, as Katie mentioned, if you are A Fear Street fan, or B, know anything about Salem witch trials, you know that the surname Good means something.
It's very important.
I feel like there's a lot that we're going to look back in the third movie on this movie and go, aha, because I'm suspect on that wife.
I am very, very excited about the third movie.
We had a close up of that wife, and she didn't actually say anything. But I'm like, oh, I don't know.
That third one's going to tickle my Salem witch trial fancy.
Yeah, 1666 is where Katie's at. She's at that shop. So we find out that Dina and Sam are hot teen lesbian lovers, which is
Did that feel forced to you guys though? It felt like it was very forced. Me.
Sam's not into her. Like Sam is just not into her.
But she's probably that first, she's probably just flirting with it. One of them's more into it than the other, and
like Dina's like fully like, yeah, I'm a lesbian. This is just where it's at, and Sam's like, oh, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. She got a boyfriend real quick if she just moved there.
Seriously.
She a bit of a hoe. But anyway, they meet back up and they're fighting as a fight breaks out on the football field, which is great. I love Simon as the witch.
He just
as the mascot. He hits people with a broom and runs away. So I think he is meant to be, like the queer male representation, because he doesn't punch. He hits someone with a broom and then runs away as he's dressed as a woman. But whatever. We're down for different stuff here. And then we're back on after Kate gets smacked in the head. And she's not happy.
No, she's really not.
The Shadysiders are planning revenge when a car load, or not full of, but a car with two skull masks starts to throw bottles at the back of the school bus that they're on. And who should be in that seat but
Sam.
Sad sack Sam.
I'm so
she's
miserable.
Yeah. So Dina's not having it at all. She's over this shit. She opens the back of the bus and gets ready to throw the cooler of full red Gatorade. I guess they didn't actually play the game, did they? Because there was a fight. So that works out. She has a mysterious nosebleed. This nosebleed thing keeps coming up in this show. So obviously it means something that we're not privy to. And the cooler goes flying out the back and hits the car. The car goes ambling off into the forest. Everyone survives.
And they're not really injured either.
Not really injured.
Like, it doesn't seem like they were wearing seatbelts, and somehow they're all crawling out of the car alive. And it's just like, okay.
Sam crawls out
of the back seat. Like, he's like hanging over the seat like this. That guy should have went right through the windshield.
Sam crawls out of the car and is bleeding from the nose again, and has a mysterious flash of some supernatural imagery and a screaming face. Ooh, it's all over. And then they're rescued. Everything seems to be normal. Everything seems to be great. Right? We're all good. The police officers question them. They do as teenagers do and go, it was an accident. It was an accident. Even though it wasn't an accident. And then we think that section is over. Dina and Josh go back home and find this fella lurking out the front. Who they think is Sam's boyfriend, justifiably, because he promised revenge and that he was going to kill everyone. So, we have that start. We have stalking starting, which is a big theme in a lot of Fear Street books. Is people being stalked? It's like, ooh, scary. But let's talk about. Can we talk about the AOL Hot Minute? Right.
I was just thinking, can someone please bring up the AOL,
We need
please?
to talk about.
Because I had
90s.
I had the best away messages. I did. They were so good.
Okay.
I was dare I say I was the original emo girl with my sad away messages. And I also want to bring up, because I read an article the other day about like doing things that you regret later on in life. When I was of the age of AOL and AIM and all that, my original screen name was Orgy Lover 15.
Oh God!
Gosh.
And it's because I liked the band. I liked the band. I had no idea.
She didn't know what an orgy was.
I
She's
had
like, orgy.
no idea. I just liked Jay Gordon and that band, man. Him and that makeup. And that should have been a sign for later on anyways.
Well, Steve, AOL wasn't huge here, was it? It was more ICQ.
We had Yahoo. We were more Yahoo.
And Yahoo
we were
chat.
Yahoo chat. Yeah.
But yeah, I attracted some yes. Anyways.
I bet you did.
I didn't understand why are these guys sending such vulgar messages to me?
You newbie.
So back to the story.
Sorry, it was funny as hell.
While Josh and Kate are being stalked, Josh and Dina are being stalked. Kate and Simon are babysitting. I would not put those two, and putting those twins to work, sorting out their drug piles.
And bribing them with my so-called life.
So-called life, I know, right?
They're like telling the little kids not to eat them. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, their hearts will stop. I love it.
She said it was such a straight. I love Kate.
Yeah, she's typical bitch cheerleader. She's got the prototype down. She was gold. She was gold. We forgot to mention that they had accidentally they have been selling drugs to get their way out of Shadyside and had accidentally temporarily killed Simon's little brother Timothy earlier.
It wasn't a full OD, remember? They brought him back.
They brought him back.
I love this movie.
This is when it's revealed that Simon works at the grocery store and hasn't actually gotten changed in the last 24 hours because he still has
the bloody
shirt with Sam's blood on him.
Yep. That's
which
gross.
Is a bit gross, but whatever.
And an OSHA violation, but anyways.
Yeah, but whatever. It was the 90s. No one was caring about anything
one cared
back
about
in the day.
OSHA. Come on.
So in the babysitting house, this is when we see the real return of old mate, because he breaks in to smell the bloody shirt, which was kind of weird. Which was kind of, everyone's like, okay, what's going on there?
Okay.
Interesting.
Okay.
Look, it's 90s.
And then bounces. He's gone because she does not even care. She's like, hey, creeper. And then he's like, and so I was like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, yeah, that's
creep from Sunnyside or wherever it is.
Yeah. So they all hightail it to the hospital because Dina's been told to stay away by Sam's waspish mother, because the reason they broke up was that her mother broke up with her father, and she's moved her to Sunnyvale. Moved her to Sunnyvale, thus breaking up the world's hottest lesbian couple. Apparently,
Mommy's a bit of a rude.
Yeah, Mummy's a bit of a bitch, but 90s bitch mother with shoulder pads is another stereotype.
It's a look.
Look, the mum just wanted her daughter to be normal. Okay.
Yeah, we meet another really interesting character at the hospital, Nurse Betty.
When she said, "Tell Nurse Betty she has some patients," I assumed right away it was going to be a cross-dressing nurse. Like I knew they didn't try very hard for Betty. Betty deserved better. I mean,
I know, but there's so many backstory. I feel like we could get backstories to all these people.
I know, but I feel like they could have done Betty a little better.
The lead in, but I feel like Betty was just meant to be a creeper, and he was a creeper. He was a creeper. So yeah, they go to confront they go to confront Sam because they think that the boyfriend has been put up to this.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out the boyfriend is just a glorified coat rack because he gets fucking stabbed right
he
through the
got
gut.
wrecked.
Right?
Really
Yeah, he
bad.
got wrecked. And
Like-
again, Skullface is back. We don't know who Skullface is because Skullface is dead. But he goes on a rampage through the hospital, killing the receptionist and poor Betty.
Ugh,
Oh,
that's
right
what
through,
they did my girl wrong.
like right through that jaw, and
Ugh.
quite graphically. Like,
Mhm.
there's no cutaways in this movie. That's what I normally like. We get in this, especially in this teenage style of movie, you get cutaways for violence, but they're like, nah,
Bloodless deaths.
Mm.
full penetration deaths here.
Gosh.
They
Or just
hightail it out of there.
whatever.
One of the best things is when they're one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie is when Josh Caton's Simon stealing from the candy machine, and they run past, and so I was like, did this to get back together? And then there's a fucking knife wielding psychopath running past, and Kate it's this shot actually. It's all over.
Meanwhile, killer just runs right past them. I mean,
yes,
doesn't even give them a second thought. Just whoosh.
And we don't know why yet. We don't know why.
We do get a look at the killer though after he kills Betty, right?
We do. After he kills Betty, because there's been a bit of violence and fight. The killer is actually Ryan Torres, who was the original Skullface, who was shot in the head and killed after he did the mall massacre.
Then how can he be back? How?
Well, we'll find out, Luke. We'll find out.
Stay tuned.
So these guys steal an ambulance. I love it. Steal an ambulance and go to the sheriff's office. Now, the part that had me a little bit confused. The
Aside from the
sheriff of
lesbian
Sunnydale. The sheriff of Sunnyvale is also the sheriff of Shadyside?
Well, here's the thing. Sometimes over here, I don't know if it works the same over there.
Well, this is why I need clarification. So
okay. There are county police or like a county sheriff, and then there's like municipalities. So like in Auburn, there's a police department, and then there's the Cayuga County Sheriff's Department. So Cayuga County, so the sheriff's department will cover all of the Cayuga County, and then Auburn would mainly be in Auburn. So my guess is that those two towns are in the same county, and maybe that's a county sheriff, and that's how they are both the same
wonderful
person.
Because the police officer in Shadyside is portrayed as, you know, stereotypical 90s police fat guy. It's like, I don't believe you damn kids. That's
he was framing the janitor. Do you see that? The mall janitor was framing him. It was bullshit.
The black guy. Frame the black guy. It works so well in the 90s.
Nice. Racism was rampant in the 90s.
Unless you're OJ, you know.
Yeah, that one.
What else?
Oh, wow.
Woo. Anyways.
Woo. Speaking of stabbing white people.
Oh, wow.
Pretty white girls.
Right in there. Ooh.
Well, look, we like to be controversial. So while this is all going down, our secret queer Simon goes to pee.
My gay
Even what he's wearing, like he's got like they look like docks on, and like those extra long shorts that go down to meet the boots, and a hoodie, and black painted nails, and a leather wrist cuff. It's like, oh girl.
Oh, he's Jared Leto from My So-Called Life. You can't tell me
Jordan Catalano. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
We get to meet this lovely lady.
Listen, I'm into her look. Like,
you love a bit of Ruby Lane.
I love the beehive. I love the boots. I love the shirt. Yeah, I'm into it. I like the whole style of this show. Let's just like that.
She's crying in the empty streets at night of Shadyside, you know, as you would go up to her. she has a straight razor and has cut her own wrists and then attacks Simon. Nellie gets the best of him, actually, straight up, until she is shot in the head.
Well, don't forget,
Again, another gunshot to the head.
She was also singing
The police are pretty good there, though. Again,
can't
You only
remember
hurt the
the
ones you
song.
love.
Yes,
You only
song.
hurt the ones you love.
Yep, she was singing that song, and that's what attracted our gay bestie Simon over there.
So yeah, Dina has stolen one of the cops' guns because they don't believe them. Obviously, that the dead, the evil, was he more Evil Dead or Night of the Living Dead?
I loved that. You smart ass. Thank you very much. That was.
And you can tell he's a bad guy too, can't you? He's just too smarmy. That sheriff good. You're like, oh,
he knows.
So
something.
they stole ineffective Shadyside cop's gun and shot. Well, we don't know her name is Ruby Lane yet, but shot her in the head, and she deadites herself and comes back to life. As Luke and I were talking, and this movie feels very Scream that meets Evil Dead. Like,
yeah,
it's like
a mashup.
It's very good.
Meets urban legend, as we come to find out. But anyway, they escape Ruby and head back home, and this is where it's revealed that things are a little bit strange in Shadyside, because Ryan Torres is a dead killer, and this young lady, Ruby Lane, is also a dead killer. She killed her boyfriend, I believe it was, with straight razor.
Yep, killed her boyfriend and her friends.
Her friends with a straight razor in the 1950s, I believe she was.
60s.
Now,
nice.
That means she's dead, long dead. But
she did.
And I caught this on the second watching.
That's what I need for second watching.
Do you know who they left those twins with that they were babysitting?
Lane.
No.
Ah!
Thank you, Mrs. Lane. You're a lifesaver.
Woo! Ooh.
So, obviously, Ruby's sister, I would assume.
That would have to be, because she's not old enough to be a...
Not old enough to be her daughter or anything.
No. Ooh.
Yeah, so I caught that and went, oh, Ruby Lane. And this is where Josh, who is a nerd, and his whole AOL thing is that he's involved with a conversation with another person who is a mystery at the moment. We don't know who this other person is.
I originally thought it was Kate.
I thought it was Kate
screen
too.
Name again? Do you remember?
I don't remember the
screen. Queen of the Night, Queen of the Damned, something like that.
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Queen
with Queen something.
Yeah, she was Queen of something. Anyway, so yeah, it is revealed that there is a whole host of killers that seem to be recurring and returning. Obviously, we've already met. I guess we're just going to call him Skullface, right? Skullface Killer.
Well, it's
Skullface Killer.
Ryan Torres, just call him by his name.
And Ruby Lane. But there's another quite famous massacre that they mentioned at Camp Nightwing.
Oh yes.
Which brought us to Camp Nightwing Killer, who is this gentleman here.
Who does that remind you of, folks?
Set in the 70s as well, so you know, whatever. Now, I missed this choice piece of information, and I didn't catch it on the second viewing as well, so I don't know if it's someone that's seen the second show already, but Camp Nightwing, the location of Camp Nightwing is actually where the Shadyside Mall is built.
Oh, that would make sense.
I didn't catch that, so I didn't catch that, but apparently that's where the Shadyside Mall was built.
Well, that would make sense then, because they're all attracted to the evil.
So it appears that Sarah Fear is bringing back the killers of Shadyside to, you know, avenge her death. Mm-hmm. But it's revealed here that Sam actually saw the witch, and this is why the witch is after her. Because a lot of those news articles, if you watch the movie, reveal so-and-so said they saw a witch, or they They have in common that they saw the witch or they heard the witch, which on the second viewing makes sense about Ryan at the beginning.
I was just going to say,
because when he turns around and goes, "What did you say?"
Yeah, he heard her. That's right.
He heard her, but there was no voice.
Right, because Heather goes, "No,
Makes
I didn't
sense.
say anything."
Yeah. I didn't pay any attention to it either until the second watching, and later on, which we'll talk about when we get to it.
I keep mixing this because I watched The Unholy and I watched this week, and so I keep mixing them up because they're kind of like they're not related, but they've got similar plot lines because the witch in The Unholy, she comes back through her family members, so I keep going, "Oh no, it's her family." No, and it's not. It's not.
Well, it is in some of the Fear Street books. It is, so we might get to that point eventually if the movies keep going.
Well, fair
but
enough.
so yeah, the guys, our little trio, little group of mystery sleuths have figured it out that we've got to go figure out what happened that night. Look at how 90s that basement is. I love it.
Okay.
Plaids everywhere.
I'm just looking at Dina again. Doesn't she look like the littlest daughter from Seventh Heaven?
Yeah, Ruby. She does.
Ruthie,
She does.
wasn't it?
Ruthie.
This
Sorry.
like dead ringer. Now I gotta know.
So they go back to the scene of the accident. The scene of, I sound like Buffy. Accident. The scene of the accident. To discover that when Sam fell out of the car, her blood came in contact with the bones of Sarah Fear.
Oh, of course it did.
And she herself has awoken all of this. So they one of my favorite reburying the bones. We're sorry.
God damn it, Dina. Simon and Kate were too good for you.
Yeah, look, it's angsty, self-important lesbians ruin everyone's night. It sounds like my life in my early 20s. Unlikable lesbian couples ruining everyone's evening.
Oh my god.
Oh god.
Okay.
So again, yes, we have the Camp Nightwing killer introduced and coming to axe Sam in the back. She cops it a lot, but she deserves it. She gets attacked, and we figure out that the key to all of this is Sam's blood.
Mm-hmm.
Because her blood became in contact with the bones. The blood was on his shirt.
And she saw the witch.
The blood was actually on Dina's shoe.
Mm-hmm.
So the killers are after her blood. So they make an epic plan to get rid of these killers. I love the high school scene.
Jaws. I love it.
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic. And that's another movie you should have watched this weekend for the 4th of July. But anyways, it's just perfect. Like, how'd they get rid of the shark at the end? They blew it up.
They go. They realize that it's blood. So everyone has a sexy changing scene, whether it's lesbians, interracial love, or self-love.
And
everyone
Simon had the best line of the movie. Did you all go to Pound Town? Me too.
I think he wins best character for this movie, right? He's amazing.
He's so good.
So yeah, they effectively I guess chum Sam's blood into some water and lace it through the corridors of the high school to trap the killers in the bathroom and blow them the fuck up, which should be the end of everything, right?
Except they pull a Terminator and reform.
It reforms and they are fucked. So they're on the run again. They figure out, there is a survivor of Camp Nightwing. And she saw the witch as well. So
how are they going to find the survivor, Steve?
How do you do things in the 90s? You let your fingers do the walking. You get your yellow pages out. You get your yellow pages out and find this person.
90s enough.
I love it.
Whoever said it wasn't 90s enough didn't watch the movie. They just didn't. There's no way.
Yellow. Or do you know what? I feel like a lot of the people that are criticizing it weren't there. They didn't grow up in this time.
Weren't in the 90s.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like, Anyway, they do find her, but she's out, so they've got to leave a message on their answering machine off their landline. You know, connected cord landline. Yeah, and then they're like, "Oh, well," you come to the conclusion that Sam has to die. Sam's got to die, so they, to save her, obviously, just not because she's miserable. we head to the market, where this was an intense, just like hot minute of this movie, right? I was like, oh, I dug like the fact that it was dark and there's the neon lights, all that kind of thing. It was so very 90s.
Did you catch that Simon was the employee of the month for like
every month? Every month.
He deserves it.
Well, look, he's good at his job at least. That's what we like. We like to hear that he's good at his job.
Oh, and then we see that he's good at his other job as he explains to Sam how to overdose.
Exactly. They deal out the pills.
Anyone watching, this is highly irresponsible. You're far better off to suffocate somebody and bring them back with CPR. Don't overdose on things if you want to come back. Usually doesn't work out.
Trust Nurse Luke.
Nurse Luke is giving his professional opinion.
You've got your light blue shirt on today, Bubs. You look like you're in your scrubs.
Yeah, but I'm not.
But I'm not.
I'm not.
I'm not a medical professional today, but I'm saying don't do that.
Yeah, don't overdose kids. It doesn't end well. No.
But our killers, before we get to the full overdose, our killers find us, and boy, do they find this cast. Oh my god.
Oh, this is depressing.
It is depressing, but do you know what? It was shocking too, and
this is very one of the most goriest deaths that I've seen.
It is very rare in the modern day in a horror movie that I am shocked.
She had a good death. I mean,
she put up a fight.
She did, and that was a beautiful kill. I mean,
and she saved. The important thing is that she saved Sam and Dina. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. With the whole Buffy the Vampire Slayer moment.
It was very good.
With the aerosol and the flame, she set Skullface on fire, but Skullface was not done.
No.
And poor Kate met with the bread slicer.
Yep.
Oh, the bakery technically.
Terrific.
Oh, was it the bakery or was it the?
Yeah, because she got her head smashed into a cake.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
And then she went on to it's that old school. We've got a store here called Baker's Delight.
Okay.
And they have that exact machine with the vibrating teeth.
I thought it was the meat slicer, but okay.
No.
I mean, either way, she got sliced.
It was a bread slicer and pretty good damn practical effect too. Yes, apparently,
it was good. I liked it.
No CGI in this. Apparently,
I mean, as soon as she died, I was pissed. I'm like, if she's the only one to die in this scene, I am going to be very angry.
I was like, what? No, not Kate.
I know.
Wait, so we forgot to mention. Yeah, so we mentioned that everyone hooked up. Do you guys? When Simon and Josh were together, I thought he was going to kiss him as well.
Yeah.
I had this feeling that he was going to be like when he was scared because he was like, I was like, oh, this feels a bit funny, and then they cut away from it. I was like, maybe in an alternate edit that happened, but. Yeah, he reassures Josh that Kate actually liked him because she's a bitch, basically, and she's not nice to anyone. She was nice to him. But yeah, Kate meets a sad end, and one of the shocks was when Ruby Lane showed back up again behind that door. I was like, oh fuck, I didn't expect that. And we've been watching horror movies for a while, guys. You always expect someone behind the door, but she was just there. Like, you know what I mean? She was just there slashing away.
Sneaky little bitch.
Poor Simon also meets his end at the hands of Camp Nightwing Killer, which I think is a pity, right? I feel like it's a pity that we lost both of them so quickly.
Characters, so they did their job.
I really liked Kate and Simon.
Yeah. But they did their job. They made these characters interesting. And
they made those characters interesting.
Yeah, but I'm still not happy about it.
Yeah.
Not happy.
At least we got the first half of it.
So when we go back to Dina and Sam, when they show the whole fish tank and the lobster.
The Scissor Sisters.
Yeah. My immediate thought was that she had a shellfish allergy.
I'm going to rub this lobster on her.
Well, no, I thought like I don't know why that. Okay, I'm a food allergy mom, so my assumption is always like, oh my god, they're gonna go into anaphylaxis. Okay, so
We'll talk about that in a second too. Medical opinion. So she drowns her, right?
Right there.
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
just pointing at the screen. She drowns her, and it takes a long fucking time for her to drown.
It does
Like-
seem like it took a long. Does it really take that long?
Yeah, actually,
think if
it
you-
would. Like,
Especially if
it
she's
was like
putting
in
up a
real
fight.
time.
Oh,
If
she
she's
wasn't
putting up
really.
a fight.
She wasn't really fighting. I
She
guess.
is
I
for a
mean-
little while. Then you see her grab her hand, and she kind of lets go.
Oh, all right.
A little bit too late, just quietly,
Yeah.
just before Josh is about to die. But thankfully, we didn't lose Josh as well, because if I was just left with Sam and Dina, I'd be like, and I'm done.
Listen, if they killed the woman, the gay, and the black guy, I'm gonna call racism here.
Well, it'd be very 90s.
Bigotry.
But yeah,
I'm actually
so
surprised he survived being black in the 90s.
That's
she
true.
dies.
That's
She
true.
dies, right? She drowns.
Yep, she's dead. And
that many EpiPens?
But again, why would you use an EpiPen to resuscitate somebody who's
yeah,
drowned?
if- all right,
Like,
but-
And you can
so-
tell she was trying to go Pulp Fiction, right? And she's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
but she was nowhere near her heart.
But this is the
now,
thing.
EpiPens
That-
are a lower dose.
EpiPen's not gonna work on someone that's technically not dead slash
Got
like,
their
like not
lungs
breathing,
full of water.
lungs
No.
full of water and heart stopped.
No, it's just meant to.
Right.
Well, I mean,
That would be a
correct,
CPR job.
I mean,
Yeah,
you can
right?
correct my. It's just meant to reverse the effects of anaphylaxis. It's supposed to give you enough time to get to the hospital where they can.
So they're
properly
trying to
treat
make
you.
out that this is adrenaline. I'm guessing.
That was their theory. Was well, we've got all these EpiPens. Epinephrine is
Wouldn't
just
that have
adrenaline.
wouldn't that have killed her? The amount of stuff that the amount of
Yes.
EpiPens that
If it wasn't, it's a low. Like Luke said,
Come on, Luke.
it's a lower dose. If they
It
had
is
like,
a lower dose than an EpiPen, but they gave us so much. Like, look, there was that case of that nurse that was booting up all her patients with adrenaline and putting them into cardiac arrest, like bringing on heart attacks from an overdose of epinephrine. And so, yeah, that's very much something that could happen. I just don't see who came up with this idea of giving someone adrenaline that's drowned. Like after the drug overdose, maybe, but the drowning thing, it was like.
I think she just panicked at that point. I think
Yeah.
for the drug
that was
overdose,
my
maybe
that was
would've
my
worked.
moment of disbelief for her. I was like, really? Okay,
I think
cool.
she just panicked because even Josh is like,
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You know, this is probably not the best way to go about it.
So anyway, happy days. The lesbian lives. Ugh, whatever.
Back to
And they
scissor
try.
another
So
day.
basically, Sheriff Good tries to put this whole thing on Kate and Simon, and you know, they refuse to let that happen. Basically, and there's happy lesbian moments until the phone rings again, and it is the survivor of Camp Nightwing, and we have the revelation that someone is summoning something deep in the bowels of, I'm guessing, Shadyside. And we see a wall full of names of killers of Shadyside's past, and then Sam's name appears on the wall.
Yes. So what was the survivor's name? See something?
See something. We'll see her next week. That's what it is. We'll see
her
you next week.
We'll see you next week.
So yeah, Sam viciously attacks Dina, and there's a fight scene, big old lesbian fight scene with lots of more stabbing. They're very obsessed with the stabbing in this one.
And in the abdomen. I mean, they are good.
Yeah.
That's not like a little poke. I mean, that was a
No, yeah. And basically, Dina gets to subdue Sam, who is obviously possessed, and that is where we end Fear Street Part 1.
I mean, I'm sure Dina has pictured tying up Sam before, but this is not exactly what
But
she was
not
going for.
not with her landline phone cord.
That was the best one.
Avocado colored if I'm to if I remember correctly.
Oh,
So we get the trailer for this week's episode. We're going to drop this just before the next episode starts. So we get to go back to the 70s, kids, and it looks like a big old Friday the 13th tribute.
it's
Absolutely.
a good time.
It looks like a good time. There's teenage sex, there's blood, there's violence, there's drugs.
What more could you ask for?
What more could you ask for? So what did you guys think of this first installment?
I'll let you go.
I was pleasantly surprised. I wasn't sure what we were going to get, if it was going to be some watered down thing or like just some, cliche whatever, but I thought it was quite well done. I feel the 90s vibe was captured very well. I feel the kills were quite intense and iconic that you go away from that film thinking like, holy crap, like I just saw someone go into a bread cutter and like get minced up. Like it was really well done. And the only thing I really didn't buy was the two leads. I thought it felt forced, and I just didn't, maybe it was the actresses, I don't know, it just didn't vibe well with me. But I think the supporting cast was extremely strong, and that's what made this what it was.
Yeah, totally. Katie, what about you, my love?
I agree. I'm as a 90s kid, I loved it. I thought it hit all the nostalgia spots. I agree about the leads. I mean, I don't have a problem with them being gay, but I do have a problem with their chemistry being terrible.
They didn't feel authentic, did they?
I mean, no. Dina was okay, but Sam, I hate Sam, but she just was not into it.
I hate Sam club.
Oh, this is the I hate Sam club.
Yeah.
It's just, she was not believable. Like, she was not a lovelorn teenager. She was just a bitch. And
Yeah.
I didn't care if she lived or died. When Kate and Simon died, I was upset. And I really love that Josh was defending them to his queen, that they were good people and they were my friends and they didn't deserve what happened to them. That's right, Josh. You defend them to the end. I think the 70s part of it's going to be a lot of fun, because who doesn't love a 70s slasher film? But I'm still itching to get to that third film, because
Well, it looks like it's actually gonna deliver on the Friday the 13th. I promised that Friday the 13th never really delivered on, with having hi Katie, that's the full screen. Having the kids actually in peril at the camp, because you see the kids all running around screaming as well. So it looks like there's actually going to be children in peril. So who knows what punches Fear Street's going to pull? We could have dead kids, because it looks like there's a couple more of the killers that are mentioned that will appear. The little deformed boy who's meant to be their Jason Voorhees, I'm pretty sure, is in this next episode. The milkman who killed all the housewives is in the next episode. So the famous killers are going to keep coming back. Obviously, Camp Nightwing killers are going to be the most prominent one in this one, because he's the star.
Here's a prediction.
But yes, go.
Okay, the survivor, the one who was brought back to life by someone.
Yeah,
I am predicting that the person who brought her back was the sheriff.
Yes, because he goes to her house and drops off a note saying it's happening again.
Mm-hmm.
So Sheriff Good is obviously one of those teenagers in Camp Nightwing.
Yep.
Somewhere, and it's revealed that her the survivor's sister died at Camp Nightwing. So I feel like this is going to unfold as the books did. Like, if you remember reading Fear Street, everything was progressing along, and then all of a sudden something changed at the drop of a hat, and really like shift or shift the story really quickly, which is cool. Like, it gave you time to get to know the characters, but then it's like, but this, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. So I'm looking forward to 1977, and I'm very much looking forward to 1666 as well. As I said, I think this is a great introduction. Please, Netflix, listen. I feel like this is your gold mine. That Netflix are looking for something that people have to come to them for.
Mm-hmm.
This is it. This is it.
we're not saying do 99 Fear Street, but we're saying do 99 Fear Street.
Yeah. Do the cheerleaders, do Fear Park, like you could do individual. It doesn't have to necessarily be
Do
movies.
the beach house.
You could do TV, like you could do what American Horror Story is doing and
Just be
do
an anthology
individual
series.
episodes. Yeah. There's the new American Horror Stories, which is single episode ones.
That's coming up in the next week or so, isn't it?
Yeah, very close.
I got to tell you.
So yeah, we would love guys to know what you thought of Fear Street, because we are committed to the next two, and I think we'll probably have to do a recap as well at the end and sit down and go, all right, I've processed all this, and by the end we'll probably know if there's a future for Fear Street, because there's a lot of talk about it at the moment. So I feel like it's doing its job. Like it's generating a lot of conversation. If these next two installments go well, hopefully there's a future for it, because I would love to see some of the actual books developed into, if not whole stories, part of a story that informs it. Because the whole idea with Fear Street is that all these stories intertwine, and it's all because of the land that they're on, and because of the curse of the town. So it'd be great to see it, to flesh out the world basically, and have a Fear Street universe where you could have all these different things happening at different points of time, which I don't know if I'm being over ambitious, but that's just my hope.
Well, I mean,
my hope and dream.
I mean, they did Are You Afraid of the Dark on Nickelodeon, and it did really well. So they would be smart to kind of follow that kind of trend.
And this is a more adult version of what we
absolutely.
got. I loved the reboot of Are You Afraid of the Dark, but it was still very much aimed at teens.
Mm-hmm.
It was scary. It was definitely scary. It was still scary, but I feel like this is
meant to appeal to.
This is elder millennials. This is elder millennials, but teenagers will enjoy it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So fingers crossed. And yeah, we hope to revisit you at Camp Nightwing very, very soon. Literally in a couple of days, and then we'll be back to talk about it. So
okay, but we have to dress up as camp counselors for the next one.
Okay. All right. And thank you for joining us today, Luke and Katie, and thank you for watching Fear Street with me. And we will see you all again really, really soon. Stay spooky, kids. Bye.
Bye,
and also keep it creepy.